The life force of your bond, a power like life itself, unseen for generations, a dyad in the force.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of DYAD in the Force. I am Element.
Oh, and I'm Choco. Sorry we are a couple minutes late. We're finishing up reading some comics.
Is what we do. This is episode 206. We're going to catch up to Star Wars 2020, which ended with issue 50. We haven't talked about the comics in a while, but we're slowly getting through them, catching up. And we're getting into the thick of it. We are getting to the
Into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
Oh.
Shout out to Khan. Hello, chaps. How's your Saturday been so far? Hope Valentine's has been a good one. Oh, Valentine's as Ben.
What is that?
I thought that was a character. Ope Valentine's, like Valentine for Fala. It's been good. I mean, as good as it can be for someone as single as me. But how's it been for you, Choco?
It's good. You know, nothing like a nice, well-stocked charcuterie board and flowers, which is with real flowers and meat flowers.
Meat flowers. Did you like arrange the prosciutto into a flower or something?
Yeah.
I assume there was prosciutto, some salami, some head cheese.
I did not have any head cheese.
That stuff is so good.
But yeah, that had a nice assortment. I kind of wish I had gone with a different brie, but this one was shaped like a heart.
I mean, both bries in your life then shaped in a heart. Which is odd to think about the sentence on Valentine's Day being, I wish I had gone with a different brie. Shout out to Lord Goob. This is the way. How's it going? Welcome to DYAD in the Forest. Shout out to Phineas McCormick. Happy Friday, everyone. Any grapes? I always have grapes with my boards.
Yeah, had some grapes. I had sliced pear, sliced apple. Excuse me. Specifically, sugar bee apples. They are fantastic.
Man, sugar bee sweet too.
Yeah, and they hold their crunch really well. So I like them really thinly sliced, and then you can, give them a little spritz of lemon juice so they don't go brown. Nothing wrong with going brown, but but you know.
Do I know who? My charcuterie boards are more protein-ish. We got some cheese, we got some meats, we got the toasted Italian saucers. What would you call them? Medallions. And we got jam. We don't have the grapes, but we have the product of those things.
Oh yeah. No, you always have to have jam. So I always usually have two types of jam. One that is just more of a traditional sweet jam, and then the other one that I usually pair with the brie will have something with a kick.
Wow.
My favorite personally is jalapeno jelly, but the one I went with today was a crap, I can't remember. I'll have to grab the bottle.
What's the pate? We have some pate as well. I think my favorite jam is strawberry based, but we also have like a what is that thing again? Truffle
If
pesto.
I ever got pate, my wife would divorce me.
Divorce you?
She's so utterly grossed out by the concept.
Really? I mean, to each their own, I suppose. Name change was Blue Eagle. Well, shout out to Blue Eagle. Welcome again to DYAD in the Force. I am your host, Element 7.
Wait. Blue Eagle has a new name?
Yeah, they're called Lord Goob. And it's said in that way, too. Exactly like that.
Gabe.
Lord Goob. You naughty devil. Very jealous. Food makes me this way. I apologize. I'm gonna start having Parma ham. I mean, it's the same as prosciutto. Not the same, but it's like you have your ham there. What's your drink of choice with a board? Water?
There's no drink of choice. You gotta pair it.
I'm not a wine person. So it's usually just water or a nice zero sugar soda or whiskey. Hello, fellow sexies. I'm a spooky kitty sitting in a tree.
I went with a nice Zen.
Zen? Is that Is that a water cooler or something? Wine cooler, sorry.
Zinfandel.
Oh.
So
I seen Cap Brave New World today.
it's a red.
I still gotta see that.
So I have tickets to see it tomorrow. So don't say anything. I would be seeing it tonight, but I'm here with you guys. Which
is my situation.
don't make me regret it.
I might go see it earlier than tomorrow. Master James Kenobi says, hello there, talent card. Okay, I admit you got me there.
James
You started...
Kenobi.
See, you're starting to take a page out of our playbook, because as soon as we see you, we're like, hey, James Kenobi, Satya Sean. We appreciate you, Chico. Yeah, that's right. Invincible.
Isn't it a lovely
10 out of 10?
day?
Oh, is there a new season of Invincible?
Yeah. New season dropped. I have not caught up on all of it, but started out strong. Yeah. No, Mark starts out on a tear. He's getting buff.
I'm still on my catch-up tear as well. We're not in the wrap-up. Sorry. I'm still on my catch-up tear as well. I finished Black Flame, and I'm starting Skysworn. I also catching up with Cobra Kai, and watched all of The Recruit, which is a really good show. I suggest you watch that with your wife, and then when you have watched sufficiently a couple of episodes, report back to me after you meet someone named Amelia Salazar, so that we can both,
So the wife and I are currently watching Sakamoto Days.
Okay. I saw that too on Netflix. I was wondering if I should give it a shot.
Fantastic.
Okay.
It's a welcome addition to this type of show.
Anyone been watching the Spider-Man show? I did watch the first 2 episodes last week. It was last week or 2 weeks ago. Man, I haven't caught.
It was
I
2
haven't
weeks
been
ago.
keeping up with it, sadly.
So I am not. I have not watched what was released this week, but I'm caught up to everything before that, and I do love that it's a refreshing take, and that we don't, like sometimes I'm watching these things because I'm such a big Spider-Man fan that I'm just waiting for the comic beats to hit to see if they do it good enough,
Yeah.
And this one is so off the beaten path that that prediction is not a thing, right? I mean, to some extent, obviously, as soon as you meet, that quarterback, you're like, he's going to be Tombstone, but like, how is it going to happen?
Yeah. For those in the chat, I would love to know how many of you guys are caught up with the main Star Wars run from Charles Soule up to issue 50. And while you guys are answering that question, I found this latest season of Cobra Kai to be wanting, and primarily as I thought back retrospectively throughout the entire series. And I feel like for 6 seasons, they've relied too much on Johnny being a stubborn and Daniel being mean. And it's getting kind of tiring revisiting these, because you would hope that there's some kind of arc happening at some point. I just wanted to get that off of my chest.
Well, I haven't watched any of it. So
I primarily watch it out of nostalgia. To be quite honest, I have problems with it as an Asian, always having Like it's like American Ninja, where it's like the old martial arts days, where it really is just a bunch of white dudes beating Asians at their own martial art. You know, and they're representing a wholly Okinawan art as well. It's like, who are the best fighters in the Okinawan karate known as Miyagi-Do? Well, we've got Robbie, we've got Miguel, we've got, yes, it's a show about kids in California and stuff, but like, man, oh man, it's just so reminiscent of all of the martial arts shows that just hammer in, especially when they go to the Sekai Taikai tournament and it's the worldly stage and you've got real Okinawan fighters. You have Louis Tan in there. You have all these great martial artists who have to essentially get their ass kicked by a lot of Finn Joneses.
Speaking of which, are you down to watch Beverly Hills Ninja?
Is that with Chris Farley, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was like the first movie that Robin Show did after Mortal Kombat. I was like, oh look, it's Liu Kang. Side note, Choco shirt is amazing.
Thank you.
No one ever comments about my
Blastoise.
shit.
Big man Blastoise.
This is a Triumph shirt, okay? You have to do a lot to get Triumph shirts in Destiny. I have 6 Triumph shirts, and then I quit Destiny. And then I come back and do the Triumphs again. Oh my god, Element, is there anything you don't know? What did I say that was particularly relevant to that?
Big man Blastoise?
Unsure. How's it going, Patty? Tommy Boy is the only Farley movie I've seen.
I mean, that's Tommy Boy's classic. Black Sheep, classic.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of classics.
Mad Cobra Kai lore. I mean, a lot of it is based off of karate lore, and the history of karate, but it's owned wholly by the white people in the show, and the only callback to any Asian is Mr. Miyagi and the Asians that originated it, and then the purveyors or the perpetuators of the art are the white people. I mean, I still enjoy the show, but it's one of those things that I'm like super, super tired of. It's like if Asians had a show that was primarily about the proliferation of avocado toast. I mean, seriously, would not be our territory, but
yeah, I mean, like as much as I love Scott Adkins, the movie Ninja, he's the main ninja. It's just a little weird. But we are in a different time period now where, well, we're rolling it back, so never mind. Get used to it.
Sadly, I haven't read the 2020 run. Might be $4 each, but that adds up quickly. That's why I like to subscribe to it, because it does. I mean, as they come out, it's like $4 each time, and it's like every couple of months. So it's, instead of kind of waiting to drop a big like omnibus type of money, you have it like in the backlog just waiting for you. So I've subscribed to all of the comics, and I get charged $5 here and there every couple of months, and then when I get back to them, I have them all piled up.
Yeah, or just do something like Marvel Unlimited, right? You're gonna end up being a few months behind, right? They do that to encourage people to buy the new stuff as it's coming out, but this wrapped up, you would be able to read all of this, and plus you have all the Marvel stuff as well, and yeah, it'd be a big cool thing to do. You would not have access to the Dark Horse stuff that's coming out though.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Comixology was a good thing. I think there's, they're still around through Amazon. But Element, we don't need to say that say to you that you look good, as we know you look good. Live that brat life, brat in the Force. Where are you? How is this like Gen Alpha talk?
What? It's Brat Winter. No, yeah, last year was Brat Summer.
Hello, Marianne. Hello, Amber. Are you gonna see the new Karate Kid movie then? Yeah, I mean, see,
Is there gonna be any karate in the new Karate Kid movie?
Well, that's the thing.
This is a joke.
I support this stuff because Jackie Chan's in it, but I have a problem with Jackie Chan looking for Miss Miyagi and then stumbling on Daniel and being like, "Oh, you're the answer to my." I don't know. I enjoy the storylines and the narratives, but there something gets awoken in me when shows and actors don't put in the effort to have a little bit of cultural accuracy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, like I do have a special memory of, I'm shooting an arrow, Mr. Miyagi's is blindfolded and catches it, and you're like, yeah, like he spent his entire life training for this, and then you're the savior for it. It's like, hey, I'm Steve, what's up? And you're like, oh yeah, no, he's the best. It is a little strange.
But throughout the process of expanding the lore of the Karate Kid universe and just in general karate history, like, you'll get a lot of moments where Japanese words have to be said, and I don't mind saying Yakuza or Sekai Taikai. You don't have to say Yakuza or Sekai Taikai. You don't have to say it like that, but like, you have multiple actors and characters in the show saying like Sekai Takai, like the only Asian thing you knew was George Takei, and so that's how you're gonna approach that word. So many instances of the actors just phoning in their pronunciation. Like, put in some effort. You're married, like, just to provide a simple example, it's like you're married to Daniel LaRusso, who is trained by a Japanese sensei in Okinawan karate, and you can't say some of these names right. Like when he found an old scroll of an old master of Mr. Miyagi, and it was a Japanese name, like, truly butchered. Not even just like an American, like, not just like an English transliteration of the name. It's literally butchered. And I'm just like, who is on set? Who is there? A dialect coach? He's like, it's not that. You know?
At least they should have a dialect coach to find a way for it to be said.
Yeah.
That finds a happy medium.
Like I said, they shouldn't be speaking Japanese. I'm not asking for that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the guy who's gonna say a croissant. Like, I'm gonna say croissant. You know, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm a Starbucks. You want a croissant? You know. But at least, put in the effort to at least say it with a modicum of understanding of what you're saying. Like, I say karate, and I don't get mad at people for saying karate, but like, they butchered this name. I forget the name, but they butchered it so horribly, and it felt like they were speaking Italian. I was like, what? It's like saying it's Sasuke or Sasuke or Sasuke versus them saying Sasuke. Like, is there someone on the set that's like, that's not really Sasuke? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. Real quick, shout out to Marianne in the chat, who I don't believe has been back in the chat since they gave their panel, as well as went to Disneyland and built droids. Awesome. Congratulations. I heard amazing things about the panel, and yeah, just keep being awesome. Speaking of awesome people, Amber in the chat here, who might be doing some real big things. You know, I wouldn't say this had you not made a video talking about it, but writing a book and then having it reached out to be optioned is a big deal, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why everyone here create content, create media, talk about the things that you love, put yourself out there. You never know who's watching. You never know who it'll strike a chord with. I've had crazy opportunities just because I just started making stupid videos about Star Wars online. You know what I mean? And, you know, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. The mispronunciation that always drove me crazy were the kids who always said Ninja Gaiden wrong when I was a kid. What would they say? Like,
yeah, when we were kids, people would say Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah. Again, it's not asking you. You don't have to say Gaiden. You don't have to say that. You don't have to have the intonations correct. Like, even when you say, like, shit, you don't have to say shit with the intonation. But shit instead of Shia or something like that. As Amber puts, gracias versus gracias. It's as simple as that, you know?
Well, I will say there was someone that I follow. Her name is Shay, and she's like from the South and watches anime and says stuff with a Southern accent, and it's funny.
Oh, the newest season also has Reina Valadingam in it as well. Just Google her if you don't know who that is. She is an incredibly gifted martial artist and model. So, don't mean to poison the well on that one or prime you, but it's Rayna Valadingham. But there is, I suspect there's dialect coaches on set, because when they traveled to Barcelona, they had people saying
Barcelona.
They said Barcelona. And then they had a joke in there that an American was like, "It's Barcelona, dude."
Oh, Reina. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, she is incredible.
She holds like a lot of titles. Like, she's
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, you have to suspend disbelief and picture her losing to Peyton List. Not that Peyton List can't learn martial arts, but, like, you know what I mean? Jeez, like the fight. It's like the fight, like the fighters that you know are actual martial artists losing to the people who. But I get it, right? It's for the narrative. I'm not gonna, like. Of course, they're actors. They have to lose for the story. Gracias, amigo. It's like también. Like, you can say también, but you can't say tambien or something. Tambien.
Not to make a thing out of it, but like
we are making a thing out of it.
If it's like a white thing, they can say it.
What you mean?
I'm sorry. It's just an observation. Like I've never heard anyone mispronounce Adele, but those same people can't say Chipotle, and you're like, why? I don't know.
Oh, what? I guess you know, white people can.
Exactly.
They can say Tchaikovsky. They can say Tolstoy. They can sprechen the Deutsch, but they can't. They can't. You know, any of the ethnic cultures. They just get lost in the weeds. suddenly.
I mean, we just came off of a whole election, and people couldn't say Kamala,
Yeah.
Kamala. Like it's weird.
A lot of people were saying Kamala because of Miss Marvel.
I mean, it is a popular pronunciation for the name.
But then you look
But
at
like-
then you look at like MAGA people that are like in there clearly not Miss Marvel fans, and they're just like, you know, following what they've been told. I'd start a war if I put my thoughts out there. It's just you know.
All right, maybe you shouldn't do it spooky, but in general, you know, you just gotta try. You just gotta try, and you know, we actually spent some time with someone who is a writer, giving some tips, which has inspired me to get back into the swing of my own book. So hopefully I can keep that steam going. And I've,
I'm gonna.
that's
keep
actually
it
one thing that
going.
has slowed me down, as I've been reading some of the books on writing that were recommended.
Well, you know, I'm gonna use our writing sessions for the Acolyte prequel fic to inspire a sequence of events that results in you going on to continue writing that too. So every time we finish a sesh, I'll be like, "All right, how's your book?" You know? Do you have a working title or a premise?
The premise, yeah.
Yeah, I told you about the manuscript I've been working on for about 8
Yes.
years now, with the whole magic system that is kind of similar, but not. I mean, it was similar at the beginning, but this whole after Black Flame, it's kind of small.
Yeah,
beans
but
in
you were right
comparison.
with Black Flame, and now you know it.
John says Choco is a fraud. Let us know.
That's awesome.
Conservatives mispronounce people's names on purpose. No idea why or what it even does, but it's a thing they do. I mean, far be it for me to assume, but I feel like it makes them feel cool in their eyes. Like when they try to purposefully mispronounce Mexico and they say Mexico, like, you know, like mockingly. Did y'all see the Marvel movie yet? No. I'm gonna see if I can see it early tomorrow, but it's honestly not really on my priorities. But it might rise up to it. Oh my gosh. Should I? Can I find like a matinee? Let me pause Diet in the Force, see if I can buy tickets. Just kidding.
I mean, if you're doing a morning show, you probably can.
It's really fun. I don't doubt that, you know. I've been seeing a lot of the videos out on it. You know, we get the usual it's crap from the chuds. I kind of feel like the chuds help in the opposite, in like the reverse Uno fashion, where
Yeah, where if the judge hate it, I'ma have it.
if I see a thumbnail where they're like, it's a hot woke mess, and we're like, oh, that's my jam right there. I gotta go see it now. The Hulk Cap fight is worth the price of admission alone. Spoiler alert, dude.
Hey, I did not know that they were gonna fight.
No,
all right, you just
not at all.
spoiled that for me.
If it's a solidarity thing, I get it, but it's Black History Month, so we can't let the chuds win. I mean, we're never gonna let the chuds win, no matter what month it is. But I feel you. Khan gave it a 7 out of 10. Not the best, not the worst. And I kind of, you know, we've spoken about this in length throughout all of these episodes is that people need to start being okay with okay. You know, when I got my game scores from GamePro and all of those magazines back in the day, which you had to buy a magazine to get your game ranks to read reviews, like some of my favorite games were 60s and 50s, and I was like, okay, that's your opinion. I'm gonna go check this out for myself. It's a good barometer to go in, though. But everything has to be a freaking end game or it's nothing. I'm tired of it. Exactly how I feel about rainbow capitalism. Yeah, it's shallow and gross, but it also pisses off chuds, so I kind of love it. Yeah.
I mean, my thing with the rainbow capitalism is like the inverse is just to not have anything ever. And like, yeah, no, I'm okay with imperfect representation as a stepping stone, and that's my thing. Is I am tired of hating on progress because it's not perfect. You know, I feel like that happens. That's been happening a little bit too much for me.
Or people totally glossing over the equity part in DEI. Or the inclusion part, because apparently equity and inclusion means exclusion. You know? Which is dumb.
I mean, any of those people that are talking about it like that just straight up have no idea what they're talking about.
Watch the Edward Norton Hulk one more time before you watch. Even Marvel said you should. No! Don't tell me how to live my life, God. I will watch this and be satisfied with watching it. Also, there's nothing really in the Edward Norton Hulk that kind of screams at me like, oh, this is a must-watch to understand things. There's probably Easter eggs, but I don't really care much about Easter eggs.
No, I was watching, the Escape Podcast guys, and they were saying that it largely feels like a sequel to that Hulk movie, just without the Hulk in it.
Gotcha. I did read some things about like how this was their way of doing a Hulk movie without trying to step on the toes of their rights to do. They can't do a solo Hulk movie, so they have to.
Yeah, so they own the character but not the distribution rights. The Hulk one is a weird thing.
It's very much a Cap movie. I have no doubt it is, but a lot of people will try to obscure, or obfuscate the discourse, like civil discourse, by making it like, intentionally or grossly misrepresenting it. Unlike Spider-Man's. They need to... I don't think Spider-Man is ever gonna get out from under Sony's yoke. I really don't. I'm waiting for the X-Men though. I read some reports that the MCU has allegedly confirmed the first two X-Men to be Kitty and Gambit. So I'm unsure with what kind of storyline they're telling. What storyline we're joining them from, because Gambit isn't an X-Man at the very beginning. So if there is truth to those reports, it's intriguing to say the least. Maybe Gambit's not on the roster and just simply confirmed for the movie, and then Gambit's part of what is
Gambit and Kitty Pryde
Boys
are two of the coolest X-Men there are. So especially Kitty Pryde later in the comics, where she
Oh, yeah.
basically becomes a ninja, and she's like Chuck Norris kicking you through walls and stuff.
I mean, we saw some X-Men in the Marvels end credit. Which ones did we see?
And the Marvels, so we saw Beast
yeah. Which, by the way, looked tremendous. I am tired of teenage wolf beasts. I'd like a very robust mix of like a Hulk beast. That's just the way he's built. You can't put a muscle suit and fur and cat's makeup and prosthetics on someone. It's just, I just loved seeing that in the Marvels, because it looked like a really good happy medium between Kelsey Grammer and the beast we know from like even the comics and even the TAS. What I would like them to do is find a happy medium away from the way they did the blue skin for Nightcrawler and Mystique, because it just looked weird, you know. In all the iterations we've seen, obviously because they're comics and they're 2D, they have smooth blue skin. So just seeing it in like a kind of glittery, shiny something.
All I need is for them to understand that the character comes first, not the actor. All right? That's what ruined Fox's whole universe, is they had popular actors in certain roles, and so everything was about those popular actors. And that ruined any semblance of a story that we could possibly get. You know what I mean? Like, Mystique is not an X-Men. She's not a major character in every single story. Just because Jennifer Lawrence was very popular because of the Hunger Games doesn't mean she needs to be front and center in every X-Men story. You know what I mean?
With that said, they could have found a way to capitalize on her bankability and kind of stick to X-Men if they made her an X-Men. Like, why make Jennifer Lawrence not part of the X-Men if you're going to have to make her a part of the X-Men to add to that bankability in terms of a movie? Like, they could have made Jennifer Lawrence a Jean Grey if they wanted to. Just a prominent role in X-Men that just makes sense from an X-Men standpoint versus totally rewriting what who Mystique is as a character. You could have made Jennifer Lawrence an X-Men. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and they did nothing to actually build up the X-Men team. All the movies were about Magneto and Professor X, and they weren't really about the team.
Yeah. Which is why First Class critically was one of the better movies. But even then, it really wasn't about the team anyway, again. I need Cyclops to get recognition. That has been my greatest gripe with the X-Men movies, is how punkish, how much they made Cyclops a punk.
I mean, in X-Men 97, he was that dude, though.
I don't mean punk in attitude. I mean, they made him like the most expendable person in the entire team. And they did. They killed him. Like, this was also part of the, even though I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, this falls in line with what you were saying about the actor versus the character. Even the difference being Hugh Jackman became the character.
Well, we also have to remember that Fox did not like comics. They did not allow comic books on set when they were filming those X-Men movies. And that's why Kevin Feige ended up becoming such a valuable resource, because he actually knew what he was talking about. But, but again, they did not care.
Yeah. And that's the reason this is why Hugh Jackman as Wolverine works. Because he became the character. Jennifer Lawrence never became Mystique. And so when they started relying on Wolverine to be the leader of the X-Men within their cinematic universe, people could swallow that. But my biggest gripe with how they portrayed Cyclops in those movies is that he was the leader. He was strong. And he didn't take shit from anybody. But they made him punk out. They killed him. And they resorted to Wolverine being the leader and Mystique being a leader figure. And Mystique's not an X-Man. And Wolverine's not a leader until, very later on when he has his own school. But, that came at the expense of telling the story of Cyclops. I mean, why do you think the phrase at the beginning, "To me, my X-Men," landed so heavily with Cyclops? Because for the longest time we had not seen, at least in the larger zeitgeist of these Marvel properties, Cyclops being a strong leader.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I haven't liked him, but I dislike the comics version of him. I just think he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, but that's what he's supposed to be. Yeah. And he's not just a dick to Wolverine, which is kind of like what they chose to, double down on. It's just Wolverine and Cyclops being dicks to each other. But Cyclops is a strong leader. He's a dick, but he's the.
They really wanted to play up the love triangle aspect, which is a thing from the comics, but there's also, listen, there's some weird stuff that goes on in comics. I'm just saying. At one point, Scott, Jean, and Wolverine have 3 adjoining rooms, and they were the only rooms that adjoin at all. I'm just saying. There was some more stuff going on.
And we need to ban everyone who refuses to let comic heroes say comic things. Shouldn't take 10 years to say Avengers Assemble. Well, in defense of that, I think the payoff was rather potent when he did say it.
Yeah, but the teases of it were too much. I didn't like that.
Was there an actual tease, or was that a deleted scene?
No, there was a few teases, at the very end of Age of Ultron, there was a tease there. There was a
I'm thinking about the deleted scene where he's like, Avengers, and then and Scarlet came out. I was like, Assemble! I thought that was a
yeah. It just ends after he says it. Avengers.
It's like if in the latest Fantastic Four that's coming out, Johnny, at the end, he doesn't say it at all throughout the entire movie, and at the very end they're standing in that trailer pose with everybody, and then he's like, and then it cuts out, and he doesn't say it until later on in a big battle scene. He goes, "Flame on!" I really hope that Ben has some clobbering time moments in this Fantastic Four movie.
I'm curious how that'll play out, because that is a really cheese dick cornball line,
It's flaming time. Gen Alpha speak. Flame skibbity! Flame activate! How would you contemporize?
No, I was saying it's clobbering time is a cheesy.
It's cheesy, but it's it's him.
Yeah, that's why I just said I wonder how they're gonna do it. Because you can say things that are cheesy and it works.
What
you
if
know
they
I mean?
did the same thing they did in the Avengers with Hulk smash, and they made Captain America say Hulk smash? So like, because Pedro Pascal is like that guy, maybe he goes to Ben and in the middle of a fight, he's like, Ben, I think it's clobbering time. It's like, I agree, and then he does it. It's not the Thing saying it. It's whatever. Ultimate Riz. Hello.
Did you see make movies cheesy again? No, you're right. You're right.
Half right.
Well, okay. So there's two things. Let them be comic booky. Let us live in the comic book moments. But
I will
let
not
it take itself. Let it be comic book cheesy, but also let it take itself seriously, as that's what it is. Because I'm tired of like, you have a scene that's supposed to be like a cool suit up scene, and then they put a joke at the very end that undercuts like the moment.
We really have to wear these things? What did you expect? Yellow spandex?
Yeah.
No, I get it. I especially with Billy Zane and Phantom, I don't want that cheese or that seriousness, because it was cheesy and they took themselves seriously. There's certain characteristics that make a comic book movie comic booky. And it's not always the humor, and it's not always the cheesiness. I think there are certain elements, if done properly, can take advantage of the cinematic quality of the medium and the comic book quality of the genre. Shout out to Kenny, by the way. Hello there, everyone. Sorry for my lateness. Last minute Valentine's Day shoppers suck. I think you mean to say shoppers suck in general. To that end, I would like to say...
But being someone that I spent a lot of time working retail, there is a thing where like, you're like, it's Christmas tomorrow or later today, like, and you're shopping right now, like, come on. Yeah. And you're giving me like guff because we don't have the thing in stock that you knew they wanted.
I think that makes more sense with Black Friday, but even then, more and more Black Friday has started on the Wednesday 3 weeks prior, so it's kind of like, get your shopping
which
done.
Makes it worse.
To that end, I would like to say California drivers suck, and I don't need to explain that. But picture someone.
Listen, I'll take California drivers over Oregon drivers all day.
I wouldn't take anything, period. I would just want people to learn how to merge onto a freeway, not going 20 miles an hour and expecting people to let them in. Or expecting the entire freeway to slow down to a crawl just so they can get in. It's like, the speed limit on this freeway is 65.
Yeah. So take that and multiply it by 6, and that's the whole state of Oregon. Like, okay. You're driving. First of all, the speed limit is lower by about 10 miles an hour, and they'll drive under the speed limit. And they drive in a weird. Like, I'd rather people. I just want people to drive like they're going somewhere, like they know where they're going. You know what I mean?
I'd also like people to drive so that they know where they're driving.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest pet peeve, outside of people not being able to see two friggin' lines in a parking lot and being able to park in between them, is people who go to an aisle in the parking lot that is clearly one way and pull into it And I'm like, wrong way. Like, you're not, this is not, you see all the cars facing towards you?
Yeah,
this is
one time
awesome.
I sat in the traffic jam, just driving in Portland, and when I got to see what was actually making the traffic, it was just a slight bend in the freeway that was banked, and everyone would slam on their brakes for this like very slight bank. I don't know.
You ever seen a pile of cars lined up behind someone parked on a turn lane, and you're like, guys, this he's not.
They're not in
turning.
the car.
It's not turning. Shout out to Cal4, a good friend of the channel. Speaking of Big Man Blastoise, I'm working on a new layout for playing Pokemon. Oh, Pokemon. I was about to say Pokemon 3. All right, let's go.
Big Man Blastoise.
Also, update to tech. I finally adopted the folding tech. And it's really useful. It's really useful because thankfully my MagSafe car mount doesn't make it go when it's on. But I put it on, and then when I'm like waiting out there for orders and I'm listening to like a book or something, I can fold it out, and I have a bigger screen. So it's good. And no, I didn't pay an arm and a leg for it. Actually, it was a really good deal. Thanks, Google. Got like 50% off for being a FI subscriber. And then I got 400 and change trade-in. So I basically got this thing for a couple hundred, which is swell in my book.
I mean, the Google Pixel phones have just always been amazing and affordable. I'm on a Galaxy, the replacement for the Note.
Ultra.
Yeah, the Ultra. But I miss my Pixel.
I got on Twitter for 10 seconds and saw someone call Ray a DEI homeless pilot. Why?
That sounds about right.
Okay, I shouldn't ask why. I know why already. But doesn't that hurt their overall argument that she's perfect and is a better pilot
Anyone
than Anakin?
that uses the word DEI in that way is dumb. They are not intelligent. You won't be able to let them make any reasoning.
It goes in line with how they use it, though, right? They use it as a DEI hire, which is someone who doesn't deserve the position and is just there for diversity, right? But if their argument is Rey is perfect and is a Mary Sue and is a better pilot than Anakin Skywalker, then that should mean then calling her a DEI homeless pilot means she's none of those things.
Yes. Yeah, they watch a movie where she literally wins 0 of her fights without outside help. Or, there's always some type of external thing that makes it work. She's clearly, yet she's overpowered and perfect and never fails. But she's also weaker than everyone else and would lose to everyone else. Like, they are just not, they're not smart.
Their NPC update is conflicting with the former version. Oh,
Exactly.
it's how they are. We're going to continue to fight it, but it's not like we can't call out how tiring that is of an argument it is. Canberra drivers are fun down here too, and we have roundabouts everywhere. Oh man. Listen, we have a couple of roundabouts here up in like Monrovia, Arcadia, and like San Marino. But you throw in roundabouts into the larger scope of American driving, people lose their minds.
I love roundabouts. They're fantastic. I feel like they should be everywhere.
I also think that they just make a lot of sense, to be honest.
They're just a superior way. They take up more room, but it's just a superior for traffic. But a roundabout by yes. Bump. No.
They are everywhere in Canberra. Yeah, I'd imagine there was a lot of them in no, there's not a lot of them. They're everywhere in London. which from a pedestrian standpoint makes crossing things so much more complex, but I figure I would get used to it eventually. Do we have anything for lore? Anything we need to correct? Chat, help us out. Anything that you guys have seen through the grapevine or in your travels down the rabbit holes people are talking about in Star Wars that are clearly wrong? And of course, if you think of something.
I mean, the only piece of lore. It's not really even a piece of lore, but a piece of Star Wars history is the fact that Kenny Baker was actually supposed to play Wicket. Kenny Baker, of course, being the gentleman that was inside of R2-D2. He was supposed to play Wicket, and he got food poisoning on that day. And so they had our Warwick Davis step in for him, and that guy took off like a rocket and has been in every Star Wars since, which is so cool.
Yeah. The Force works in mysterious ways.
That's just a cool thing that, like, you're just a little kid and, like, who loves Star Wars. Because he loved Star Wars already. And then just to be thrown into this deep end, he had a special relationship with Leia because he was, just a kid, and she was always keeping him calm and all this stuff. I don't know. That's just the coolest thing ever.
Isn't he? He was also in the Phantom Menace, right? In the crowd?
Yeah.
Who is everyone's Star Wars Valentine?
Bix.
I mean, yes.
It's Bix.
You know my answer to everything.
I know Spooky Kitty's answer.
I know you know my answer to everything that revolves around this particular thing. You telling me you don't?
Satele? Of course.
Yeah. Sabine Phidias McCormick says, your answer to everything is Quinlan Voss. If it would give me more stories with Quinlan Voss, sure, Quinlan can be my Valentine as well. Brady Sawyer says Bix take is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, here's a game we could play. It's a Star Wars blind date. You're setting up two characters in Star Wars. They could be from any time period, right? They don't have to be alive at the same time or whatever. You're setting them up on a blind date that is meant for success. Who are you setting up?
Meant for success. Are you saying who are we? We're picking two, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're setting two people up on a blind date.
Did I go over to Twitch just to send my uwu fingers emote? Yes. And that's all that really matters in life. James Kenobi says Padme and Obi-Wan.
Okay.
You know,
one of those shippers, I see. Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, no disrespect to any of the Anakin Padme, like, forevers, but, like, I kind of feel like Padme would definitely like Obi-Wan, like, as a solid suitor option.
I mean, I do love that moment in the novelization where they're doing the delegation, you know, or where they're getting everyone to sign up, and they're like, go find a Jedi, like one that you really trust. And she was like, oh, I know just the one. And she realized she was thinking about Obi-Wan and not her husband.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was a powerful moment. And can we be honest? Anakin got away with a lot because of the war. And his relationship with Padme was one of those things where there was conversations that they needed to have, and they kept stacking on top of each other and stacking on top of each other, and they just never got to have them because there was always this war that was keeping things going. But had the war ended, I don't think they would have lasted forever.
Yeah. I'm trying to take this really seriously. I'm trying to think. A blind date
Cal
destined
says
to succeed.
Deidre and Hux. That would be a very efficient relationship. And it would be very rigid.
I will die on a hill that Anakin and Padme had an incredibly toxic relationship. I don't think that's a hill you really need to die on. I mean,
we saw that in season 6, The Clone Wars, with the Rush Clovis episodes.
well, we also saw Revenge of the Sith where he chokes her, so that's incredibly toxic.
Now, as far as what Cal said, Deidre and Hux, that would be a toxic relationship, but like in a good way.
Have you met Anadala Stans? Yes.
Yeah, that's true. They will fight you.
But they would also lose. Man, I'm really trying to give you a really, really successful couple here.
Master James Kenobi says Talon Card and Satil Shan.
Not going to happen. No.
I love
no,
it.
no.
Kenny says Ahsoka and Din. Okay.
I don't know if that's. You said you're setting up a blind date that's destined to succeed?
No, not destined to succeed, but like the goal is success.
The goal is success. I don't think
So like don't tell me Luke Skywalker and Jabba the Hutt. You know what I mean? Like obviously that's probably not going to work out. You know?
I mean, more recently, since it's kind of apropos to our topic tonight, I would set up Luke with Greta.
Okay.
If we're thinking about love interests and the potential for love going from Legends to canon, I like Luke and Greta so much more than anything they had in Legends. It just seems like a very earnest, like when the grandmother was like, "That's not gonna work out, dear." I was like, "Oh, but let her try." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, please read Charles Soule's Marvel Star Wars 2020 up to issue 50. But I like Greta for Luke.
Now, Marianne says Elvar, but like, it's kind of a thing already. I mean, you could say it, and it's true.
It isn't kind of a thing. They kissed. So. Oh, is that a spoiler?
Yes.
Sorry. Have you still not listened to Tempest Breaker?
Correct, I have not. Belle Zettifar and Ahsoka. Okay, I do like that.
I don't know which Ahsoka though. That's kind of like that's either a highly illegal situation or a very cougarish situation.
And age appropriate Ahsoka. Sid from Bad Batch and Dexter Jetster. Listen, don't do Dexter like that. Dexter deserves a queen, and Sid a queen ain't.
You know, even though in Clone Age she might be older by a lot, hear me out. I'd set up Ezra with Omega.
Okay, Ezra with adult Omega?
Yes. Because by the time she's adult, right, that would be... So she's... How old is she during
I mean,
Bad Batch
Omega's
season
older than him, just in
Yes.
general. But like,
But he was born on Empire Day, right? 19.
yeah,
So they're about the same, or around the same age, right? Well, she was born earlier, obviously. She is...
yeah. But I'm saying, but the timeline doesn't matter. So we're making all of these are just the age appropriate.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't really matter then. Centauri Kree and Dagan Gera. Maybe. Don't know too much about Centauri Kree. You know what? Since we're not
Asajj Ventress and the Stranger.
Marin. We both had two totally different outcomes there. Since we're not dealing with chronology and where they are, you went Asajj and who?
And the Stranger.
And the Stranger. I went Asajj and Marin. I mean, given what happens in Battle Scars, there would be some tension there.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't put it past them.
Rey and Bell, selfless soulmates.
Interesting. I do like that a lot, actually.
In the opposite regard, Ben and Ben Solo and Lorna D.
That sounds horrifying.
All right, folks. Let's play matchmaker. Markion Rowe is our client. No Gira Staros is here. We gotta think of some
Honestly,
extemporaneous.
Domina Tag.
Yeah, that could work. Who's wearing
I'm
the
just
pants in
saying-
that relationship, though?
It's all pants and no pants at the same time, if you know what I mean.
I do think, to some degree, Domina dominates him.
I agree, and he loves it. that's
Lorna and Maul. I mean, yeah. They'd just be biting each other every night. they do the every night. I'm blanking so bad right now. I blame the fever. Oh, I hope you feel better, Marianne.
okay. Patissa, the Rancor, and Ogdo Bogdo.
Marianne said Markion, Rowe, and me. Wait, who said that? Dang. Marianne likes the bad boys. Markion, Rowe, and Darth Talon is my vote. Interesting. I mean, similarly, Darth Talon would just dominate him as well. Are you doing call-in today? We do call-ins every day. Not every day. Every show. I'm just not paying attention to the waiting room. So, if anyone is calling in, my apologies. Okay. Give us another client to play matchmaking.
Salacious Crumb and Ember. I would pay money to watch Ember burn Salacious Crumb to death, and I want to hear his laughter turn into screams. That's what I want.
Oh,
that's
Salacious B. Crumb and Kim.
Kim can do better than that. All right.
But Salacious B. Crumbs need love too, Craig. All right, give us another client, a matchmaker client. Who seeks a partner, and we'll come up with partners for them.
Bib Fortuna.
Good Lord. You would need these people to sign waivers.
Bib Fortuna.
My first candidate for Bib Fortuna is Orn Free Ta. I mean, like for like, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you're going Book of Boba Fett, Bib Fortuna. Get that pwomp going.
Bib Fortuna and Ogdo Bogdo. Why is everybody going to Ogdo Bogdo? You know what? Masana Tide and Bib Fortuna. I feel like Bib needs a big woman.
I like the kind of woman that could kick my ass.
Bib Fortuna and a Drengir. Which one? They're all the same.
The progenitor.
Who was the Doten in the Nile? What's his name again?
Pan-Ada.
Pan-Ada. There. That's another one. Pan-Ada and Bib Fortuna. We're just putting Bib Fortuna with a whole bunch of like people that would just destroy him.
On a serious note, K-Vess. We're trying to set up K-Vess.
K-Vess. Well, me. Put that forward. Just like Marianne. Who said that? Just like Marianne. I feel like K-Vess and Cal Kestis would hit it off. To be honest. More so than Marin and Cal. And I sit by that. Because standing's too hard.
I'm thinking K-Vess and Dr. Afra.
They would, yeah, they would, that's like natural. Which makes me kind of think again about how much of an Afro show I want. Or how much I want an Afro show.
Like, it's still very different personalities, but like they would go on adventures together, they'd fight, and they'd make up, and
but then that leads me to my next matchup, or to my matchmaking. If we had an Afro show of like spelunking and tomb raiding, I would want Quinlan Voss with her, and that would be sort of like this kind of push and pull love interest dynamic, where they both don't really match together, but like by virtue of their separation in terms of character traits, it would inexorably push them closer.
Of course you would. James Keller says Afra and Orla.
What do you guys think? You guys think that I live vicariously through Quinlan Voss? He doesn't even exist right now. I mean, if they made a show with Quinlan Voss and Afra, I would live vicariously through Quinlan. Also, since you said Markion and you, I'm not sorry about this. Lorna D and me. It seems like I'm the only one that would suffer her fangs for some loving.
Listen, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed, but my heart's set on Bix, and
wait. I'm sure you had other other loves in Star Wars.
Oh, I have.
But no more? Bix is the one?
Bix is the one.
Jeez. Sorry, Saba 17.
she's my big lizard lady, all right? That's on the side,
She's your side piece, really? I don't think that she would appreciate that. She would tail
Bix and I agreed. We have an agreement.
Okay, so that brings me to another question. Let's say you were in a relationship. Everyone in the chat, let's say you are in a relationship with the person that you wanted in the Star Wars universe. Who would be the side piece and / or would be on this exception list? So, of course, I would be with Satil Shan. But on my list would be Domina. And I suppose I would also give leniency for Satil to hook up with Mar. That's just kind of one of those weird ships that I have back in the day. But there's Domina, there's Afra, and of course there's Bix. But I ain't about stepping on my boy's toes, so I'm gonna just back off and let you have Bix.
Miranda says Anakin is my one. Side piece is Rex.
Oh, that creates a mountain of emotional baggage for Anakin. Because Rex is also Anakin's side piece. You feel me?
He says Sabine is a main and Shin on the side. See, both of you are trying to form. You're trying to form your own triad in the Force. All right, I see what you're doing, but and I support it.
Yes, I actually really, really love that. Sabine is. Listen, I don't need to show you who is my wallpaper. I also have a standee of, I'm just going to say Natasha Liu. Because it's either Sabine or Natasha. She's on my list too. But I can't, Satil will always be my main, what do they call it? main squeeze?
My thing, but I could be completely wrong.
There's so many people.
I'm also a big fan. Huh?
I was just saying, there's so many people in Star Wars. Like, I wish I could just have them all.
See, I'm also a big Sabine fan. I just feel like I'm barking up the wrong tree. You know what I mean?
I think we had someone in the waiting room, but they left. So, if you were in the waiting room, calling in, come back. Aluli Carter. Hey, I just started the Star Wars series. I just finished the third one. Do you know which to watch next? Which third one are you talking about? Like the original trilogy, episode 6 or episode 3? And we'll help you out after that. I'll take Anakin and Rex. They're baby girls. All right. Someone has something to say. The man in the car. Kenneth Carr. We can't hear you because you're muted and I have you muted. Hold on. There you go.
What's up, Kenny?
What's up?
How's it going?
Change camera rounds. Not too bad. Busy. I hate the holiday season.
Yeah, we just got flooded over here.
Yeah. Did you guys really?
Those mudslides.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about that. When did this happen?
Last night.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and the thing is, I didn't suffer any flooding indoors, but it like seeped in through the floor. So my Samsung soundbar is fried. It's not on the floor, but its plugs and its bricks were. And I came home after like a long day of driving through all that hot garbage. And I turned on my TV to watch something. I hope you feel better, Marianne. Take it easy. I came home.
Aluli, A New Hope is next. If you watched 1 through 3 already, just keep on that track and just go for, and keep going all the way up.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I came home and I wanted to watch something on my TV, so I turned on my TV. The soundbar didn't come on with it, which is what it usually does. It automatically turns on, and I'm like, huh. So I go to see if it's plugged in, and I see like damp, kind of almost dry puddles by the electronics, and I'm like, where did this come from? Because like there's no way for things to flood in, so it had to seep up. So yeah,
it just came up through the floorboard and got your entire wall just drenched.
Yeah, so now in response to that,
who's your favorite character?
In response to that, I have a bunch of like monitor risers that I used to put my speakers on, my monitors on before I got like arms. So I put them. I put the surge protectors and all of the plugs and bricks elevated. I never thought I had to do that in California.
I feel bad for everybody in California. I mean, you guys just got done with all the fires and now a mudslide, now a flooding situation.
It's because there's Democrats, man.
That
It's them space lasers seeded the clouds. And, not gonna lie, Obi-Wan's the GOAT. Love Annie, though that was unfortunate. Yeah, maybe if you're into animated things, maybe you should actually jump into the Clone Wars right now. That would not be a bad way to go.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
One of the things I like to in our experience.
It's a DEI mudslide. Yeah. Listen. When are we gonna get these white mudslides? All right, I'm sick and tired of the brown.
Yeah.
We need an avalanche.
I'm not laughing. I'm just Oh God.
So one of the things that I
You
like
need
to
to deport
advocate
all the
for
mudslides.
is called the Experience Watch Order, which is
I'm sorry.
Clone Wars season 1 through 7. And that way you get to know who Anakin Skywalker is.
Who Anakin is, who Obi-Wan is, who Padme is, who Ahsoka is.
And then you watch 4, 5, and 6. Because you still know Anakin, but you don't know. And you get the reference. Anakin was the best pilot I ever knew. And oh, Anakin from the Clone Wars. And he references the Clone Wars. Then you watch 1, 2, 3, and you're like, oh. Or no, you get to 5, and you're like, what? And then you watch 1, 2, 3. But since you've watched 1, 2, 3, Lily, I would actually go into the Clone Wars series. And get to know Anakin and Obi-Wan.
There's a couple of websites that I use to watch the Clone Wars, like in chronological order. I would definitely look it up online. I can't remember the site's name off the top of my head, but it's actually really good. And it even introduces the movie into the mix. The Clone Wars movie.
Nice.
They're fighting the Avatar right now out there, for real. I mean, listen.
So, Kenny.
Yes.
Kiadi Mundi. What do you got to say?
Okay. He's overhated.
Agreed.
I agree.
Like, it's that simple. Don't get me wrong. The hate's justified. I know a lot of people have a lot of hate towards him. However, I think it's way out of proportion. I think he's so dedicated to his duties as a Jedi that he doesn't see... He only has a one-sided view. He's not seeing the whole big picture.
He's got 2 brains, too.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, for one thing, what people typically hate him for is stuff that's from Legends and nothing canon related at all.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2,
And his part
I think
in Ahsoka's
being
trial.
a good Jedi is gonna make you a bad father. It's gonna make you a bad husband because you're gonna be. Because you aren't going to be fully devoted to those people because you are devoted to the galaxy, to all these things. You know what I mean? Like, it's like watching, when you watch, like, the Mission Impossible movies, he doesn't get to see his wife, ever. She's just out there. You know what I mean? Because he's devoted to saving the planet. I
just got done watching the latest James Bond film, and you find out that, spoiler alert, major spoiler alert, you find out that he has a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he probably has a couple.
Probably.
Let's be honest.
I mean, almost 60 years worth of films. He's got to have at least one or 12.
Some of them aborted.
It's something I just if you want that life to be a family man to do all this stuff, you just stop being a Jedi and go do that and devote your life to that. And no one in the Jedi is mad at you for doing that. You're like, oh yeah, I get it. Do it, you know? And we have examples of that. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's kind of like Last of Us. When you see Joel, and this is what the developers for the game said. They were like, you know, for people who didn't have kids, they were 50-50 on what Joel does at the end. But everyone who has kids said absolutely they're taking out every single person
in a heartbeat.
Building.
No question.
And that's it. That was the right choice for him. That would be a bad choice for a Jedi.
Yep.
But even if I mean, I don't have kids. But even then, I'm still making that choice. You know?
Really?
Mm-hmm. I'm saying me personally, even if I don't have kids, I'm making that choice. I can't speak for anyone else. As to the morality of what they think Joel did, but I'm making that choice because I don't know them. I know Ellie, right? And she, as Joel, means everything to him at this very moment. And
I think it was a lot more multi-layered than that, honestly, Pep. It's a lot more than just knowing Ellie, knowing her, getting to really have an emotional connection to her. He does know the Fireflies. He knows of the whole myth of, oh, we can cure the world BS.
Yeah.
He knows what he was told exactly what they were going to do to Ellie. He was like, no, we're not doing that.
The additional layer is on top of that is the unknown.
Yep.
Because you can't know if killing her would result in the cure.
Exactly.
So it's a mountain of moral justifications, ethical justifications.
It's a lot of gray area. A lot of gray area.
Now, would I have killed everyone? I don't know. Probably would have found a way to sneak her out. But at the same time, I also understand that he effectively took away her agency by doing that as well. Made that choice for her, so I understand both sides. What about you, Choco? Gray Jedi don't exist.
No, it's a tough situation because as soon as you get inside of that hospital, you're looking around and you're like, I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't believe the equipment here is what.
But before you continue, Choco, are we talking about the game version or are we talking about the show? Because I've only experienced the show. I've not
only experienced the show
game.
myself. I've only experienced the show.
Okay.
But it just looked kind of hinky in the show, and so that's when I would be like, okay, I'm not gonna go through with this.
Everywhere is dinky. Like you didn't. It's not like one of those high fantasy dystopians where they arrived at the ivory tower with all of the medical equipment in the world. Every place in The Last of Us just looks like, how are you surviving?
It's not a lie on that one.
Yeah. So how do you extrapolate? How do you know that they are within their, first of all, technological capabilities, but also scientific capabilities? You know, the only like I said, the only I suppose hesitance that I have is taking away her choice. And I suppose that was Joel's choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that will forever rattle their relationship, and he knows it. Especially when she finds out what he did, how many people he killed to do that, and for him, it's still worth it. You know, she can hate him and curse him till her dying breath, and he's more happy that she's alive than
He would have done the same thing to Tess. He would have done the exact same choice for Tess. No questions.
Tess?
His girl.
Oh.
Not his daughter, the girl that we meet in the series. Not Sarah. Tess. Or is it Tess?
I believe it's Tess. Yeah, his
girlfriend.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you guys to see season 2 then.
I know what happens. I know what happens in the second game. I went ahead and watched the entire game cutscenes on YouTube, so I know what transpires.
There's still a modicum of adaptation to expect. It's not going to be one-to-one.
And I expect them to change a lot. Like, I wasn't expecting the big change with Frank and Bill. Like that big switch was wow. That is a completely different experience.
And we were
That
better
episode
off for it.
wrecked me, man.
That episode was fantastic.
I was beside myself. It started flooding in my house too. But
Did it just now?
no, when I saw that
Seeping up?
episode, I was.
Oh.
It was just a lot of water deposits.
I hate
lot
to
of
say it like
puddles.
this, but as a straight man, even I was choked up. I was crying in the background, going like, "My God, this fucking hit
No,
This
absolutely.
hits."
On top of the fact that they used On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter, which is one of my favorite, like, hey, you want to feel some type of way? Just put this song on. And I'm just like, why did they use this song? But yeah. I'm just excited for season 2, not only because I'm a huge fan of, on the spot, I forget her name. God damn it. The person who's playing Abigail. What is her?
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. I was like, Abigail. Oh, Abby.
Caitlin Deaver.
Mhm.
Huge fan of her acting, and I can't wait to see how she portrays Abby. But
Are you guys salty that she's not going to be all buff?
No, I don't. That doesn't mean anything.
I have a feeling she's gonna be built though. She's gonna do her best. She's a great actress. Obviously, she's not
I'm
gonna
just waiting
be
for
like,
the memes.
obviously she's not gonna be like MMA fighter or Abby from the game, but as long as her motivations are relatively the same, it's going to be a very, very interesting
Yeah,
portrayal.
and by the way, it makes perfect sense, right? Her being buff was a gameplay mechanic to have her navigate similar to Joel when you're controlling. So yeah, it was just an easy choice to be like, oh, we made this choice as a gameplay mechanic. This is not a game. It's not required for the character. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
But before I leave, I really do have to leave. I just checked the time. Cal, hi. First off,
Hello.
I can't wait for your Nuzlocke game. I really can't. I've been wanting to actually physically watch one because there's no way I could do it. There's no way I could do that rule set at all.
It's gonna be brutal.
Secondly, Choco, to your Ventress stranger connection, if that doesn't work, I'm going Ronin.
Ooh,
Ventress and Ronin.
I like that actually.
Right?
I didn't even think about that. That's a good one.
In that regard, what about Ventress and Parasol Sith? I forget her name.
I don't know enough about them.
I would still lean towards the Ronin because
Yeah, the Ronin would be more her speed.
self-possessed, and then Ventress goes on her own journey, and then so does he, and they're kind of like in that murky area.
Mm-hmm.
Phidia says, I don't have kids, but I do have a kitty cat, and I'm choosing my cat over everything.
That's a good mindset.
I mean, I saw Keanu Reeves do the same thing.
We have 4 good movies to prove that.
Yeah.
And possibly a 5th.
Alula Carter says, can't imagine how they're going to do it. I was pleasantly surprised with how they did the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of
But-
the game, and they, for even with like small things like them kneeling to take out their backpack, I was like, bro, that's a game thing. That's a game thing. Like, I was telling Choco during the reactions, like pointing out all the things, moving the planks to cross roofs and stuff, just like game stuff.
The kneeling down, pulling the backpack in front of you.
Yeah. And taking out the bandages to do that shit. I was like, That's specifically a callback, but yeah. I have no doubt they're going to nail it. With Druckmann on the team, it's, they basically have an inside track to The Last of Us.
I have to get
One.
out of here. Have a good night, guys.
Right.
I'll be
Have a
watching
good
from
one.
the
Bye,
site.
Kenny.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Cal4 says, I was blubbering mess in the React video on DYAD.
What a loser! Oh my god. Ooh.
I was going to say DYAD in the Force.
No, I genuinely was. That episode destroyed me. Ugh.
And just so we're all
Very
on the
good.
same page as to the song that hits hard all the time, and I'll only play like 5 seconds of it. And you only need to hear that much to be like, why?
So one of Thane's favorite things is this back scratcher on his head.
That looks comfortable.
I was just about to say, I was like, that's a sick back scratcher, though. The best
Is he in
part
frame?
is,
He's only barely in there. Okay.
barely in frame. I do the same thing with my little back scratcher, but with Peach. Where she'll be like super far away, like on the other side of my desk, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna give you a little scratch from over here.
Let me see if I can fix this really quickly because this layout doesn't look good.
Ooh, we disappear. Just keep it with the split with you guys, and then just put me like as a really, really tiny third one, like under the news or something.
All right, so Cal4, you are officially starting a Nuzlocke challenge.
Yeah.
For anyone that does not know what that is, you want to let them know?
Yeah, so it's basically just a set of self-imposed rules while playing through Pokemon that are kind of cruel to yourself.
I was gonna say,
It's
cool
all
little Pokemon.
It's because what it is it's all about when your Pokemon faint in the game, making that permanent, but you also have to nickname every Pokemon you catch as well, and you can only catch one per like route as well. So like your pool is very limited. You have to nickname them so you become attached to them, and if for any reason they hit 0 hit points in battle, you put them in the PC and you don't take them back out. And so it makes the game really hard, and I'm really excited. I've never played one before, so
So high level,
it could be
like,
a
you
horrid
just-
flop.
High level, you just can't heal them. Like they just.
No, you can still use items to heal
You
them.
can heal
and
them.
things
You
like
just
that.
can't let them hit 0. But also, when
Which-
you enter a new area, you catch the first thing that's there. That's it.
As in,
And
that's
if you go to
unique.
catch it and you don't and it runs away, too bad. Go to the next area.
Yep.
so
So that means that you also might end up with a pretty jank team.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is usually pretty good about giving you at least the type you need for your next upcoming gym.
Yeah, we'll see.
Usually.
I mean, like I
Which-
said,
which one are
it
you
is
playing?
a very brutal challenge. It's going to be one of the longest games in the series because I've never played it. I played the original Gold, but I have not played Heart Gold. So I'm going to be playing Heart Gold, which is like the remaster of it. So it should be pretty fun. And then eventually, I was talking to our friend Chris, Star Wars lawyer, about doing like if I have fun with this and it winds up being successful, doing what's called a Soul Link Nuzlocke, which is when you hit the next route and you each catch a Pokemon for that route, they become bonded. So we would both be streaming at the same time. And if his Pokemon goes down, mine of that bond out. So it becomes super brutal because now if and either one of us have a Pokemon that faints,
a dyad in the Mon.
yep.
I thought when you said Soul Link, I thought it meant you were linked with them, so like you die as well. If enough of
You
them
die in the
die.
game, you die for real.
Shout out to SAO.
No. Hey-oh. Ugh, but yeah, so it should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to it. I got my layout all put together and good to go, so I'm excited.
Right on. Soul Link just for
I
Myth
am
is
partial
crazy.
to Emerald myself. I love Emerald.
I never played Gen 3 until Omega Ruby. So
I'll be that guy and say I never got into Pokemon that way.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It is.
I got
There's
into
plenty
Monster
of things media-wise to enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
You really cannot enjoy them all.
I still though want. I mean, he doesn't have a Switch, so it won't happen. But I want Pep to get into Fire Emblem. think he
I
would
want to
enjoy it.
Switch.
Switch 2
Now that I think about
looks
it,
cool.
would buying a Switch be better than upgrading to the Fold? Yes, but I kind of wanted a Fold.
Well, not to mention, like, you do a lot of dashing and stuff like that too, so that will be used every single day that you're doing that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I contemplated every day, like, bringing my tablet with me, but that would just, it's not, there's no data plan on it. I would have to
Hotspot it or something.
hotspot all the time. But in this case, if I'm just sitting there waiting, I just get bigger screen by unfolding it. And that's how I've been able to watch 2 entire shows and read 6 books. And
I'm so far behind on the Star Wars audiobooks. I feel so bad. I have all of Phase 2 and a good chunk of Phase 3 on Audible from all the tokens that I have from subscribing for so long, and I just still haven't read them.
I mean, I felt bad for the longest time too. That's why, how many years Choco was telling me to read Alphabet Squadron, and finally read them after so long.
I have those too. I have Phasma on there that I haven't read.
Oh, Cal, you're
Yeah,
gonna love Phasma.
I
specifically.
know I will. And then I also have New Dawn, which, like, me with Kanan, so it's like,
Yeah.
I just need to.
Or what you can do is ignore all those and let me send you a book, and you could.
Oh.
I finally got Pep to listen to.
You know what? I'll do it.
Yes.
What book am I on? Unsold.
You're on Skysworn. That's
Yeah,
book number 4.
Really? Did it? Okay. I thought it was on okay, never mind.
Skyward Sword.
Skysworn. This thing is also the reason I was able to catch up to the comics while I was out there.
Dude, honestly, that would be such a huge boon to read comics or manga on the go, just having that much more screen real estate.
Yeah.
Mm.
I saw that, like, I think it was Huawei or something. I saw another company release a trifold. I was like, that's tempting. But it's like, what, like $5,000? I'm like,
Jesus.
No, I'll take one fold, please.
I'm honestly
Yeah,
debating getting a tablet now to read manga and stuff.
And I realized that I've read a lot less because I have no idea where my tablet is, and B, I haven't been using my laptop very often. So I would always read comics on my laptop because it's it folds all the way flat and it has a touch screen. So I would just have it's bigger than if you actually had a comic book, and I would just lie on my stomach like a kid scrolling through. Kind of miss it.
You ever do that when you're in bed and the next time drop your phone on your face?
No.
Or am I just the only clumsy one here?
So
I won't do it above me
Dang near
for that
chip a
reason.
tooth.
So when I'm home, I do use my Pixel tablet, and I have the little gold ring case on it to put it on the Pixel stand. So when I read with that, I fold out the ring and I just put my arm like through it and just hold it above me. So I can't really drop it unless I fall asleep and just like let go of it.
That's what happens for me usually is I'll have like a moment where I'm just kind of like listening to like a TikTok that's just really long or something like that, and just listen to somebody like talking and stuff like that, and then I'll realize that I'm starting to doze off, and it's just like, tink. Oh.
It has happened before. I'm not immune to it. Like those are moments where you're like, it's time to go to sleep.
It's time for bed. That's. Yep, there's your sign for that.
So my wife and I have a bunch of these just all throughout the house.
What's that?
Laptop stands?
No, it just
like a
my
wireless
phone
charger
sits on
stand.
there, it charges it, and then I'll be lying there on my stomach scrolling through stuff while it's sitting there. So like I don't ever hold it up.
I need one of those for my
And-
kitchen.
But yeah, we got one on my desk. There's one on her desk. There's one in the bathroom. There's one in the kitchen, and one.
Because that's the time I scroll TikTok is when I'm cooking, and it'd be nice to have something where I don't need to like prop it awkwardly on the back of my stove, being terrified it's gonna fall down and slide back behind him. But, well, I don't have a phone anymore. Who knows what horrors are back there? I don't even think I want to touch my phone anymore.
Yeah.
Apartment
Fede says,
life.
Fire Emblem is so good. I just finished Engage last month. Awesome. I can't tell you how addicted to that series I got.
How many games are in the series that I would have to play?
You can
don't
pick it up at any point.
Yeah, you don't have to play through.
is it a Final
You can
Fantasy
jump
thing?
in or jump out. Huh?
Is it a Final Fantasy thing? Just part of a series, but
yes
not
and no,
continuous?
similar. Like there are certain games where there might be a crossover character, but it's not one person's journey. Each one has a different protagonist, and there's different storylines, and then you do
Yeah,
all
that's
your
Final
battles.
Fantasy. Like there's only like a couple of direct sequel like Final Fantasies, but each Final Fantasy is a different story. And world.
Yeah, well, I just mean most Final Fantasies kind of take place in different universes from each other.
But this one is different storylines in the same universe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, should I get a Switch, I will play Fire Emblem. But in return, because one of my most favorite JRPGs of all time, Suikoden, is being remastered, I would love for you to play that. It's coming out March.
I would not be opposed to trying that.
That's the one I was talking about with like recruiting the Stars of Destiny and like like building your army and stuff. And
I
it's
feel
Game
like-
of Thrones story was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
I feel like you might as well just wait for the Switch 2 at this point. Because it's going to be backwards compatible with all of the existing Switch games, and it'll just give you time to save for it too,
That's
comfortably.
for sure the move.
Also,
but
the
yeah.
Joy-Cons are going to be mice. That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, there's an optical sensor, like a mouse sensor, on the Joy-Cons, like on that side, so you just like use it like a mouse, which I think is actually cool. And I thought it'd be kind of uncomfortable until I started moving my own Joy-Con on my desk like that. I'm like, oh no, that's perfect. Like, that's still totally fine.
Also, speaking of tech, I finally watched enough Magic John videos to get the privacy mode. You ever watch those Magic John ads? It's like privacy version, protect your content.
Yeah, I see those same ones. Yeah. I'm trying to straighten out this pin, but no, but I don't think I really care about privacy screens like that. Because I see them, I'm like, that's neat, but I feel like there's I'm somebody who looks at my phone when it's on the table too much at a weird angle.
Yeah, you're like, no, I can't see
it. Where it's just like it's laying on the table like that, and then I'm like, now I have to grab it and look at it.
Well, in this case, the fold doesn't have it,
Right, yeah.
right? But when I'm dashing, it has people's addresses on it.
Yeah.
So but that's not why I got it. It's just one of those things that is a benefit. But was there something you joined the call specifically to talk about?
No.
All right, I thought there was a question at hand.
I was like, I'm here. So.
Yeah, we appreciate it. But we do need to talk about the comics, so you will be spoiled.
For those in the chat who have not caught up to issue 50 of the Star Wars comics, I mean, you're more than welcome to stay. It is, it's one of those things where, do you plan to catch up with the comics, or because it's not like we're gonna go like into heavy detail to the particulars. It's just at this point we've reached Return of the Jedi, and at the end of Star Wars 2020 issue 50, we that's like before Return of the Jedi, and then Battle of Jakku, the next comic run, is after Return of the Jedi. So one of the things that kind of stood out to me in these issues is, of course, the living sea of Gazian that makes its return yet again. And who do we find there?
But Aslan Real.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, this is a big old mushroom sea. It's like jumping in mushroom soup, but
Well, without the soup.
without the soup. And it is a living organism that keeps a memory of every person that visits it. So before, Luke jumped in there and he got to speak to Elzar Mann. Now, Elzar Mann came there to seek knowledge, right? Because it has imprints of all the Jedi and people who visited before. Just trying to get information. And Luke's like, well, what happens? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know anything beyond when I jumped into this place because it's an imprint as of there. But yeah, now Luke is in there.
Yeah, and to kind of further kind of hammer that point, when he reaches Aslan Rel, as we know in the High Republic stories, this won't be a huge spoiler for High Republic fans. Like, Aslan Rel fell to the dark side, but he shows up to Luke as a Jedi Knight, and he's like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I visited as a Jedi. This is all I know. This is me. But he still has some pretty dark motivations, because we learn about a device called the Grim Rose, which has that been hinted in any other canon project?
Not that I can recall, but I'm not fully caught up on all the comic lines.
So the Grim Rose looks like a holocron, but it's actually one of those devices that is a death note that works with someone's genetics. So this is an interesting kind of storyline in the comics where Lando has to go back to Naboo and has to access the genetic material of Palpatine, because they keep the records of all of the senators and stuff. But he meets a lovely lady who's like, I see through your shit, but I'm gonna help you out anyway. So he gets the genetic material, but they find out that the Grim Rose is actually it tries to hone in on its target, but by virtue of its search, murders everyone that's on the way. So you can imagine how many people Palpatine has touched or has been involved with, how many people he's manipulated, how many people he has had an impact on, and you get a massive, giant, thousands and thousands, like a list the size of thousands of names. And as we learn from Aslan Rel, if it can't find its target, because Palpatine's really good at concealment, it's gonna keep going. And then we get to a point where they realize that it could also destroy Darth Vader. And that's not what Luke wants. So Luke destroys the thing.
That is grim.
It is. Touched by a rose. That is great.
It's a cool concept. I mean, it's like having the 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but everyone on the way dies through its search. But of course, if they turned that thing on Darth Vader, then they would lose potentially Luke and Leia without knowing it.
Yeah.
It's like that one stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
And this is the thing that we like to discuss when it comes to galactic implications. The whole prophecy thing. And through Anakin. Well, through Anakin we got Luke. And through Luke we got Rey. And through Rey, all of these things happen in the sequel. So without these connections, what happens to the larger galaxy in the story? So it's interesting that they had this option. It also expands on the fact that Luke got a lot more training than we give him credit for. But of course, that's external media, right? So if we bring in that, then we bring in other external media for Rey. So, but yeah, he got the first Jedi text from that living sea of Gazian as well. And so he's telling this story to Ben, which I thought was apt because this is Choco's show.
What?
we get to see the adventures of Luke by virtue of a story being told.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess your pitch was
A show
reading his journal.
Yeah, but this type of thing is exactly what I want. Yeah.
So we don't know.
There's a line in there though that like I just loved in it, and it's Luke deadpan serious face, because when they're trying to find it, they have to go through a lady to requisition it, and Luke is just like, record clerks have powers you and I could never dream of. which is
it's part of the
kinda
lesson. Not everybody has the same powers as us, and that's quite a potent line, to be quite honest, because everybody has their role. As much as we talk about the Force and Force users and the will of the Force, everyone has a role to play. And we talk about fate and free will. But this arc is a huge lesson on the Force acting through its agents, but its agents having to be the ones to enact it, and whether or not they're successful remains to be seen. And so that's why whenever people are like, if the Force has a will, why doesn't it just bring the Force back into balance by itself? Because it can't. It needs an agent. And sometimes those agents are Chirrut Emwe, who's just walking through a field of blaster fire, not getting hit, and being able to flip that switch. Or sometimes it's Luke Skywalker getting his hand chopped off. But I like that the comics came to that conclusion of us seeing Luke teaching Ben this lesson, and also showing us how much more training he's had through various, and they did address it too. It's like Yoda and Obi-Wan didn't have time to train me. I was like, yeah, of course. It's only a couple weeks, so you had to seek out new other sources, which is something that we've been talking about in Star Wars for a while when it comes to people arguing about you need training. This is like a master level skills. Like, no, like you can learn things by yourself through external sources, through other people. Like, It's not just you don't just need a Jedi Master to teach you all of this stuff.
Do you think that Tar Vizsla said the Force has a will and this is the way?
Perhaps.
I'll see myself out. No,
You can't see yourself out. You really can't, because you would need your astral form to sit in the chair and watch you walk out.
No, if he has a YouTube stream up, he can see himself out. Literally.
Yeah, I have the YouTube stream up on this monitor right here.
It has because it has a delay.
That's true.
No, it's definitely an interesting storyline. Just like Master James Kenobi says, don't become evil to fight evil, right? It's just niche scheme. This was an interesting storyline. There was a few of them. So were you caught up and this was the only thing you had left?
Yeah, I didn't read any of the other... I didn't catch up with Vader, Dark Droids, or the other connecting issues. I just finished this main line.
Yeah, well, I mean, before this storyline, we actually had the trial of Lando.
Yeah.
Following his stuff in Dark Droids. And that one I really enjoyed because we had this great moment. So Lando does stuff, does some shady stuff that actually has some spying on the Rebel Alliance. Obviously, he's not opposed to the Rebel Alliance, but he's trying to save his boy Lobot. He gets caught and he's put on trial for it. During this trial, Mon Mothma gets kidnapped. And while Mon Mothma is kidnapped, I love the speech that she gives to the person that she gets kidnapped by. So this person, they're talking, and she's like, okay, so you were one of the senators, you were rich and all this stuff. You could have hunkered down, you could have hid. You didn't have to be part of this rebellion. You didn't have to do any of this stuff. So why choose to do it? Why be willing to do it? And then she was like, the answer is because of peaches. Was it peaches? What was the fruit?
I forget what it was, but it was a peach, yeah. It was like a spring peach or something.
It was, yeah. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she tells the story of when she was young, she tried this special peach, from this planet, and it was amazing. She loved it. And she always wanted to find it again. She wanted to find more. Well, it turns out that an Imperial that was well up there liked them as well. And he wanted all of them sent to both him and his cronies. And the people said no. And so the Empire burned all of the crops to the ground so that there would be no more of those peaches anywhere. And she said that was the first that was the first thing that showed her what the Empire truly was. What it's willing to do in small senses and in large senses. And that's why she rebels, because she knows that will never stop. And it was just like, damn, that was cool.
Well, the next part of her analogy was truly hard hitting as well. Is when she asked, "What's your name?" And the person interrogating her or having a conversation was like, "I already told you my name's Hachi." And she's like, "No, your name's Grenta, or your name's Grent. Never mind. I need you on the front lines. You're gonna fight this battle. Never mind. I want you to do this. I want you to go over there." And she was like the whole time she's like, "My name's not Grent." So she's getting kind of perturbed about this, not her name not being acknowledged. But Mon Mothma's trying to drive home the fact that it doesn't matter who you are to the Empire. You're gonna do this because they need you to do this. You're gonna fight this battle. You're gonna die. Your name is this. You're a frontline soldier. Or you're this, or you're that. It doesn't matter if you're Hachi and you want to do something your way. And it was a very, very potent kind of revelation, because Hachi...
The captor was like, maybe maybe we made a mistake here.
So that was definitely an interesting storyline as well. I also want to know what do you guys think? So Luke comes in. We were talking about this earlier. Greta is a Felinasi, and he's looking for a way to heal a blood crystal. This is another storyline in the comic. He walks in, and Greta, who he knows by virtue of him searching for a way to fix his lightsaber, turns around and blasts him, deflects it with his hand. And she's like, "How'd you do that?" He's like, "I don't know." He doesn't know, guys. Is he a Mary Sue? I just wanted to ask that question.
No, I think honestly, there's a lot of instances like that with the Force that people will kind of turn a blind eye to when it doesn't suit their argument. It's like, no, it's just the Force, man. Like, people who are Force sensitive will do things that they don't always know how they did it. That's kind of how people discover they're Force sensitive to begin with, right? Like,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. That's how almost everyone discovers they're Force sensitive. Is something happens and they react, and their reaction uses the Force, and they're like, "Oh, that was weird."
It's also
that's how everyone does it.
it also relates to how I've been defending Rey this whole time. She knew about the Jedi. She's heard all of the stories about Luke. And Luke's explanation to Greta is, "I don't know. I've read about the technique somewhere, but I've never truly understood it." So when it comes to hearing about the stories of the Jedi, and the legend of Luke Skywalker, hearing about the mind trick and hearing about all of this stuff, that gives her a basis to start from. And when she finds out she's Force sensitive, and Maz Kanata gives her this impassioned speech about letting the Force guide you, she's going to, do some, on the spot calculus whenever it comes up. And then she did it with her fight with Kylo Ren. The Force, oh yeah. Close your eyes and access the explanations.
I mean, the whole point of the trench run in the original Star Wars wasn't that he was able to do it because he bullseyed Womp Rats. It was he did it because he let the Force guide him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That wasn't through his own power.
Yeah,
That's something people overlook so much when they say, but he says it. He says he bullseyes Womp Rats in Beggar's Canyon. No, he does that because he's using the Force unknowingly. Go for it. Yeah.
I was going to say essentially something similar, but it's I don't know. For me, that moment with Rey especially was a moment of kind of like what we all feel like we've had when we see the remote just out of reach and we're just like, we put our hand out, right? And we're just like, Or like with Sabine, right? In Ahsoka and stuff like that too, with the cup and things like that. Like, it's for a moment disconnecting yourself from the situation, from like yourself, and just trusting in something other than you. And obviously in Star Wars' case, it's the Force and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun.
One thing that I'm especially proud of amidst my large list of things our list of things potentially, because me and Choco have pretty much canonized a lot of things through our interpretation. When I was writing Echoes of the Past, I was writing about how Rey got her yellow lightsaber. And without going too much into detail, she happens upon Darth Vader's crystal. So she's trying to heal it. And so Ahsoka, being there, because she's part of my story, tells her about the process of purifying crystals. And she says, you have to connect with it. you have to pour as much of yourself into it as much as hate and anger has been poured into it. And that lives inside the crystal. So when I wrote that scene, I wrote her living through the memories of Kirok and Fila, living through the fight between Kirok and Vader, and feeling all of the anguish of the people that Vader killed in an effort to get this crystal. And when I read that storyline of how he's healing the crystal and he's going through the memories of this Sith of an ancient time, and I'm like, I've canonized purifying crystals. Oh my
I
gosh.
also feel like something that could also make it uniquely yellow. If I don't know if that's where you're going with that at all, but
No,
the
the
fact,
crystal, just the process of purifying.
yeah, but like, it would be interesting for her if she wound up healing the crystal and it didn't go white and it did go yellow, because she's also the kind of person to use literally part of her life energy to heal others, and I imagine she would do the same thing to heal a kyber crystal as well, and that would affect it even further than just purifying it.
That's,
Amber is the color of her energy.
Yeah.
no, that's actually that actually works out, because not only is she learning from Ahsoka the process of healing or purifying a crystal, but she has the concepts of mending from the Chronicles of Bruce Boot to begin with, and so that would kind of bleed into the process, you know. She's trying to purify it to white, but she's also transferring. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that's cool.
Well, we also do have to remember though that the crystal that Luke purifies in that story does turn white. The green one was a separate crystal that was given to him.
Yeah. I'm just saying that just due to her already having education and somewhat of an affinity for like force healing, as it were, that like it's kind of a tandem between the two of both purifying it to white and force healing it beyond just a purified crystal, and now she's like reattuning to it, kind of like if she found her own crystal and it attuned to a color at that point. Yeah. Because she's just brought it back so fully and completely.
Yeah. That's really cool. Now I want either a book or another comic based on the Sith we saw. Who are they? What time did they come from? Are they
Bill and Ted, and they're on an excellent adventure.
Well, if we're gonna canonize Bane's story, is that, I mean, no, Cognis is a Iktachi, right? I suppose it would just be a Sith from before their time as well. I don't know. I like to like look at these characters that we get introduced from like a previous timeline and be like, ooh, who would that be in Legends?
It would be the player character from the Sith Inquisitor storyline.
It could be, because it had long hair. I'm sure a lot of people picked long hair.
It would be Lord Scourge.
No.
Scourge was Sithari, wasn't he?
Scourge was
Sith.
no, that was the character. It became your
Companion as a Jedi
companion. Yeah,
But
He's
he
in
was-
the Revan books.
He was Sithari, wasn't he, though?
The red-faced Sith pureblood.
Yeah, wasn't he?
100%.
This one, so this Sith in the comic, let me see if I
He
can.
was the companion I used. So.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up a picture of the Sith, and we'll go crazy.
Actually, it's not true. I used Doc because I was playing tank. And Doc was funny.
Back in the old days where not everyone
mattered.
could do everything.
Yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, because I did start using him after reading the Revan novel, and you could switch their subclasses. I just made him a support, like healer, and then just ran around with him doing buddy cop stuff. It was fun. because my character is like absolutely pure good, like couldn't make a negative choice in the game to save their life. Honestly, because I couldn't. There's so many choices in that game that it's a 50-50, and for me, I cannot do the evil choice. I can't, like, every time I'm doing the bounty hunter one, and it's like one of the first missions with the dude and his kid and stuff like that, and like,
Oh, you're like, do I take his head or not?
yeah, it's like you can just straight up shoot the kid's dad and bring the kid to Korriban to become a Sith, and it's like, I don't want it. That's so I did it one time and immediately deleted the character and started over because the kid's just like, no, Dad, and I'm like, what did I do?
It's funny because like I do that myself in any game that I play, and that's one of the reasons why I'll play as a female avatar, so I can make decisions that aren't what I would do. Because if I make him me, I can't do those things.
Even when I've tried to do the same thing, and like I've even made a like stone cold killer bounty hunter, and that's one choice I just can't do it. I can't. It's so sad. Especially when you find out that the dad's like trying to save his son. And it's like, oh, goodness.
So here's the Sith.
Now,
They clearly have like half Malgus armor on.
I mean, that I'm not gonna lie, that does look like it's ripped right out of the Old Republic, like level 40 Sith Juggernaut gear.
he's about to use Furious Leap.
Is that a Nevereni though? Is that what we're seeing?
Gray skin. I don't believe he has sharp teeth though.
I don't know. But I would love a story about this person, this Sith.
Yeah, that's a cool looking character.
But my point being, just like what we've been saying for the past couple of weeks, we are knee deep in an entirely new expanded universe for canon. And when people refuse to keep up with it or refuse to read it in favor of Legends, like, you're missing out on so much.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to just read both. Like, it's not hard to keep things separate, and it's just fun. Like, because even when you're only reading Legends, there's so much that doesn't sync up. So much. That it's like, okay, so you're already keeping storylines separate, reading only Legends. Why would you not just add another set of stories to it that are also just delightful?
Because they like to be angry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the realist thing about it.
But like,
you can hate watch something, but you can't hate read stuff.
Yeah. But like we have so many advocates for Legends, and like there's so much now in canon. We have so many comics. We have Afra, we have High Republic Adventures, Star Wars, Vader, Star Wars Adventures. We have Battle of Jakku now, Insurgency Rising. We have all of these canon books. We have
Isn't there one with Crimson Dawn too?
We have an entirely different era in High Republic. We basically almost have as much of an expanded universe as Legends was. And what you guys are doing is essentially you're not in the know anymore.
Yeah. And that's why it's these people, it's just their knowledge just becomes less and less relevant.
Yeah. Look, I genuinely don't understand it, because like I'm somebody that, like, you, I mean, you guys know me. I have Revan's lightsaber. I'm a huge fan of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, the Old Republic MMO. I have way too much time and way too much money spent in that game. Like,
we're all Old Republic fans.
Yeah, like, you can like both. I don't understand. Like, do you have limited ability to love Star Wars at that point? And you're like, I'm tapped out. That's too much. And it's like, no, I love Star Wars. Like, just gimme.
That's why I always liken it to food. It's like being, I like hamburgers, therefore I will never eat tacos. And you're like, just
Eat a taco.
eat them on different days. I don't know.
Eat them at the same time.
I mean, Afra is in comics canon, and she is worth it 10 times over. Yeah.
And she's only canon. Also, you have like, how cool is Darth Maul now?
Yeah.
All cool things about Darth Maul are canon. He was a throwaway character in Legends for almost all of Legends.
Yeah. And this
Not
goes
to mention,
on.
like, I was gonna say, just look at the High Republic era as a whole, and just the dozens and dozens of awesome characters from that era that just wouldn't exist otherwise.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get
And the vice versa is also true. We don't have Talon Card yet. Although, we got Booster Tarek, kinda, right? The Errant Venture is his canon. So who knows what'll happen in the future?
we got Plagueis in live action.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And
That blew me away.
I envision a future where we get a Cawthor at some point, and nobody's gonna know about the High Republic because they just refuse to keep up with the expanded universe and canon. And like this goes with what Choco was saying about less and less of their information is relevant, right? The same question we ask: how did Luke get his green lightsaber? We know there's an answer in canon now, but you're gonna be stuck in the Legends EU timeline where you don't.
This might also be a bit of a hot take. I think the canon Thrawn books are better than the Legends ones.
I never read the Legends one, but
It's true. So the Thrawn books, everything with Thrawn is certainly better. The Legends ones has a lot of good stuff with our, Luke, Han, and Leia. So but most of the good stuff in that is in the first book. And again, I still point to how unceremonious the ending of that Thrawn's ending is.
yeah. As James Kenobi mentions, so will Satele Shan. And that's the thing. The moment I get a live-action Satele Shan, I'm going to lose my mind. It's not going to erase or overwrite what I love about her in the Old Republic, in the Legends timeline that I know of her, But this is why we have to walk on eggshells. Like, no, don't do Revan because it's gonna. No, I'm just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Give me another version. I don't care.
Yeah.
The day that comes out, it'll be like that TikTok sound, be like, "Hey, this look pretty good. Where your clothes at?"
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the channel's gonna cease to exist for like a month because he's just gonna be busy.
DYAD and the Force is canceled for the foreseeable future.
We're taking a brief hiatus while we clean up the
Loads.
huge amount of drool. Okay, that I was gonna try and keep it PG.
Sorry, it's always sunny. It was in my head.
But that's the thing. I'm totally capable of having two versions of the character. It's just like books and movies. It's like, yeah, there's the book and then there's the movie.
Yeah, it's so wild how people can do that with the MCU and DC and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, it's just a different, but then they just can't do it with Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like,
I have like
come on
8 goddamn versions of Spider-Man, and I love them all for different reasons. Like, how is this any different?
Good stories are good stories. Cool characters are cool characters. Just enjoy things.
Yeah, because people just are obsessed with. It's partly like an anime mentality as well. It's like you want the manga version to stay true in animation form, but at the same time you just have to let go. These are adaptations.
I agree, except for JJK. I'm sorry, bring it perfectly like you have been for the first 2 seasons of the movie, please. Thank you.
But if they give us a canon version of Satil Shan, she doesn't have battle meditation. She doesn't find Tython. She's just another Jedi in this other timeline. I'm still gonna love her because of who she represents, which is my Satil Shan. So I don't know, like maybe that's just like a personal thing, but like, can't we all just be like that? Just
I think that's what it means to truly love a character.
Yeah.
I truly love anything.
I think that there are some people that just can't genuinely love a character. Because like if you truly love them, doesn't matter which adaptation, version, form, you love that character.
Have you ever really ever loved a character?
Oh dang! My mind went to a totally opposite direction. I thought you were singing Dawson's Creek. It's like, I don't want to wait for all that to be over.
No.
See, I don't care how Talon Card enters canon. I just want him to be canon, but voiced by Mark Thompson. But what if he's like live action?
Dubbed.
Just Chinese ADR it, you know?
Listen, I would also accept him being voiced by Antonio Banderas.
But who would play?
Antonio Banderas?
Yeah, he could play him too.
Yeah.
We don't know what he looks like. He's just a book character.
That's a good question for James Kenobi. I feel like he's answered this question before, simply because just by virtue of how rabid he is of a fan of Talon Card. But we'll wait.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know who that is.
It's a Talon that has a card.
Sick.
He was the head of a smuggler guild, the one that Mara Jade rose through the ranks of and became second in command, and they worked alongside the rebels against Thrawn.
He says Puss in Boots card. Okay, I guess he agrees with Antonio Banderas in that regard.
Also, if you haven't watched Puss in Boots Last Wish, watch it. It goes hard.
I've heard that, but it's still one of those like hearing that I can't believe it.
I know.
Like, it's one of those things I'm like, surely everybody is lying. And I'm the only sane one here. No.
Antonio will be a great choice. He replaces Jabba in Legends. Now that you mention it, we do kind of need Antonio Banderas in Star Wars. I think he would have been a good Jod, too. That kind of character, that archetype. Just imagining him like talking to kids. No. That's my Antonio Banderas, and the extent of the impressions. No.
Saying no.
Not like that. Oh, he turned into a Russian there. Never mind. Not like that.
Not like that.
Now I just really want Satil Shan in canon. And
I was honestly thinking of who I would start casting from like the Old Republic MMO as some of the different characters and companions and stuff like that. Like, I honestly feel like they could really like pull from like the Knights of the Old Republic era or the Old Republic era and not even tell the stories of the games, just tell stories with those characters. Because like so many of the characters in those games we meet at some point in their life journey, and then at the ends of the games, a lot of times people wind up splitting up and doing their own thing anyways. So it's like before that, after that, plenty of story options. But I feel like, because I was thinking of Kira Carson voiced by Laura Bailey. I'm like, she could just be played by Laura Bailey.
True. But in light of recent projects like Monarch and Shogun, I am now 100% in the camp of Satil Shan being played by Anna Sawai.
I mean,
after her performance in Shogun, I want that.
For me, that might be too distracting, but like, but I'm into it.
I don't care.
Get distracted.
All right, so who's one person that from the Old Republic, and choose someone that is off the beaten path, and cast them with someone from from recent projects that have impressed you. Like, I don't want to hear like, oh, Malgus should be played by Mark Strong or something. Although that would be a cool casting. I just pulled that out of my butt. This one's a thinker.
This is a very big thinker.
I would like to see Mission played by
I want to see Mission played by Ashley Johnson. Or no, who am I thinking of? Hold on.
I do like that one though. If you guys haven't played KOTOR,
Sorry,
Mission
Ashley
Val,
Eckstein. Sorry.
Yeah, that would be cool. I like
Get her into the Star Wars live action side of it. And I honestly think that, like, her energy would translate really well, because Mission is kind of just, like, at all times, just young Ahsoka.
Yeah. They both have Leku too.
I mean, since you're casting someone that's already been cast in Star Wars, I just want to see Daisy Ridley as Lana Beniko.
I could see that as well.
I also could see that.
But it's the opposite character, which would be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See. I always call him Zanzibar, but I'd.
Zalbar?
Yeah, I would like to see Zalbar played by the one who's replacing, Ray Stevenson. He's the Hound in Game of Thrones. I guess I suppose I have to cast my most hated character, Cantankerous Ordo, or
Cantankerous?
I call
Cantankerous
him-
Ordo?
Yeah, I call him Cantankerous.
I feel like he'd be like a Josh Brolin.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he looks like him. Like,
Yeah. Or
despite the graphical fidelity, he does look.
who's the guy that I'm thinking of? Ron Perlman.
That's
I could see play him pretty well.
You got someone, Choco?
Glenn Powell as Set Hart.
Yeah, of course. That works. I actually, when you said Glenn Powell, I was like, is he going that way?
Who's the character? Set Hart?
Set Hearth.
So,
He's Dark
he's
Jedi.
a character that was he's a dark Jedi, essentially. There's a Jedi that used to go around collecting Sith relics, who got kind of tainted by them, and then who left the Jedi Order and was just like a rich playboy doing his thing, and he gets
What's he from?
the Bane trilogy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's a good one.
I had one and I've lost it, and I'm upset by it.
All right. Well, while you think of that, I'm gonna cast Xana, and I would really like a dyad moment here. But if we don't, that's fine too. But Darth Xana is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Not gonna be a dyad moment, but I'm not opposed to it.
Gotta say that purple lighting on you, Choco, makes you look mysterious.
Ooh.
He doesn't need purple lighting to look mysterious.
But yeah, do we have any final castings?
Well, who do you picture as Xana if it's not a dyad moment? Actually, you know what? Either Anya Taylor-Joy or Saoirse Ronan. Although I have Saoirse Ronan as Domina Tag as well, but still.
I actually like Saoirse Ronan more.
Yeah. Who are we talking about? Darth Xana. Or Xana. Or Raiden.
Who would you guys cast as Lord Scourge?
Lord Scourge, but with prosthetics.
Yeah.
I honestly,
Willem Dafoe.
Charles Dance.
No.
Charles Dance.
Can I say a weird one?
Who?
Vin Diesel.
Maybe.
Because he's kind of got like a quiet strongness to him when he talks.
Yeah.
And like, he also doesn't really ever yell. And like, I don't know.
I chose Charles Dance for like the moments of regal that Scourge has.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I just feel like, what was the movie? Or I don't know. I never watched the movie, but Vin Diesel played kind of this witch hunter, but he did him in. Hold on, just let me play. the Critical Role one shot D and Diesel. He also played his character there from that movie. And if you ever watch that, like that's what I'm going off of. Is his character in that D&D one shot? Like, I feel like he could do it pretty well. I don't know. I think it's a weird one, but it's a fun one.
I'm gonna go with Charlie Hunnam.
Oh, I have to look up who that is.
For Scourge?
Yeah.
Rosa Salazar?
I could see that.
Rosa Salazar. Okay. A Xana? I see that too. I was telling Choco about this earlier. Or maybe I wasn't, but I'll tell you guys both. I watched The Recruit on Netflix. And I recommend everybody watches it. And then report back to me when you meet a character in the show called Amelia Salazar. You let me know how that goes for you. Yeah. Charlie Hunnam as Scourge, right? Is it because of his mustache? His beard? Looks like.
He doesn't always have a mustache, but no. In the characters, I don't know. I feel like they have the same type of presence in how they can command with menace.
Julia Winter for Darth Xana.
Why can I not remember his name right now? The other Shan. Smuggler guy. Theron Shan, yeah. Who would you guys cast for him?
Jensen Ackles. Julia Winter. Are you talking about like a young Xana? Who am I looking at? Because I feel like I'm looking at a little girl, but Julia Winter is 31, and I'm like, I'm being incepted right now. What is going on? Are there 2 Julia Winters? She played Verica Salt in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But she's 31. I'm not sure anymore. What was that? Someone said? What did you guys say?
Mine's Stephen Ewan for Theron Shan.
Like it.
I think he would kill it. Honestly. Because I actually really liked Theron Shan in the games. And I also loved him as Glenn. And they had very similar energy to me. Of just like the chaotic good guy.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
I don't think I know him from anything.
Mark Paul Gosling? From Saved by the Bell?
Gosling. Saved by the Bell, Zach. But specifically, his character from Franklin and Bash.
Yeah.
Did you watch Franklin and Bash?
No. I know that show though. Isn't it Franklin and Bosch? No, never mind. I'm thinking of Johnny Young.
I'm thinking it's it's Mark Paul Gosselaar and Chris Bosch, the basketball player. I did watch it.
Okay, I changed my mind then. I like Stephen Young as Theron. I'll take Jensen Ackles as Jace Malcolm, which is the person Sateel.
His daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% can see that. Well,
Gotta introduce
I
some
can see it.
Caucasian in the Asian, you know?
yeah.
All right, but any final ones before we wrap up?
Who would you guys cast as Doc?
Doc. Refresh my memory.
He's the healing smuggler companion for the Jedi Knight storyline.
Oh. Matt Smith. I it's not lost on me that I casted him with a doctor.
Yeah, I'm getting that person right.
That's who I
Edward
would do.
Norton.
That's your doc?
Really?
Who would you cast
I
as...
can't remember much about his personality.
Oh, I mean, he's honestly very, like, kind of almost like MCU humor of like Iron Man / Star-Lord in a weird way. Of the very egocentric, but also like will at the end of the day be like, fine, yeah, I guess we have to do the right thing. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
also
Edward
like
Norton.
is the first one to like give you shit and like try and also like find a way to like flirt with everyone.
But all right, we should start wrapping up here because we've been going for almost 3 hours.
Yeah. Really quickly, who would you cast as the Ren? Luke Evans. And who would I cast as Thrawn if Mickelson wasn't doing it? Dan Stevens. All right, guys. That'll do it for this episode of DYAD in the Force, episode 206. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation about Star Wars the comic run. I believe next week we shall catch up with Darth Vader. Thank you to Cal for joining us. Thank you to Kenny for calling in. Thank you to everybody who's hanging out and for tuning in and just being fun. That's all this stuff is about anyway, right? Cal, do you have any final words?
More Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Correct.
Agreed.
Choco?
I'm hungry.
I feel that.
In that case, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all awesome people.
It's true.
And may your Valentine's Day be full of happiness. And salted cured meats. Later.
Ooh.